I'm just putting this up to say what is really interesting is that every single one of those organisations has leaders in it who have the same core challenges as you do in terms of taking a strategy and a vision and trying to turn that into realistic action on a day-to-day basis that makes it happen with limited time and limited resources. You know, you may have seen this before, hopefully you have. It's about you having that strong brand as the Home Office and the different strands around people having good career paths with you and wanting to have an organisation that they want to be part of, flexible workforce to be able to respond, valuing differences, that diversity that you spoke about, and also better leadership at all levels. But I think my abiding impression in terms of what you do is actually not just about that, but it links to one of the points you mentioned earlier about the importance of what you do. You are not making widgets. You are producing what I think is not only something that's critical for the present, but that's what I think is even more important. You are working to leave a legacy of a safe and just, tolerant country for future generations. So it's not just about now, it's about 20 years' time, 30 years' time, 40 years' time. That is why you should be so inspired with what you do on a day-to-day basis. If we look at the billions of pounds that have been spent on leadership programs over the last 10, 15, 20 years, we should be getting a significant return from them by now. After all the work that you as chief executives have spent on talking about leadership, on cascading leadership, on trying to make leadership happen, we should be having a result. The problem is that all the evidence would suggest from any number of surveys across the world that there has actually been insignificant movement over the last 10 years in the average quality of leadership in organisations. Not only that, but also in terms of organisational performance, we haven't seen a massive change that would indicate a significant return on investment on all that money. So it poses the question to me, why? Is there something that we are missing in our organisations about leadership that hasn't occurred to us? And I think there is.
Chris Roebucks is a British economist who has advised major global banks and held senior roles at UBS and HSBC.
It was possible for you to get a mortgage not by presenting any evidence of your earnings at all, but by merely telling the person who was offering you the mortgage how much you were earning. So there was no evidence at all that any of the people that had mortgages could actually afford them.
By the end of 2006, pressures were felt across the mortgage market as housing prices in the US started falling dramatically. It was the beginning of the end.
From that point onwards, to some degree, it was a house of cards.
Lehman Brothers' success could be attributed to one man. His name is Richard Fuld.
Hi, my name is Dick Fuld. I'm the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Lehman Brothers. And I'm pleased that you're considering a career in investment banking.
Lehman's chief executive was not letting anyone get in the way of his vision.
Now, this is a guy that, to some degree, is on a personal mission. He's a grandee of Wall Street. He has his own little show. You know, he's been there long enough. He doesn't want anybody getting in the way. It's his focus, his success. For Perspectives from the Top this morning, it's my great pleasure to be interviewing somebody who has done certainly a large career change, significantly larger than maybe most of you or me, from oil company group treasurer to Church of England curate and now Archbishop of Canterbury. It's a great pleasure to be interviewing this morning Archbishop Justin Welby.
But you can care in lots of different ways, can't you? I mean, my own experience in the oil industry was, you know, you had some people who cared about, for instance, I remember at Enterprise, the exploration director, was passionate not only about exploration but also about the environment. So there was a holistic nature to the care. You had other people in other companies I worked with and who cared a great deal about what their salary check looked like at the end of each month. So the caring has to be a focus.